Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball arcade game video for you today. Basically, I'm working on this old EM pinball. This is a 1975 Bally kickoff pinball machine. It's an EM, electromechanical. Needs a lot of work. And I was just getting into trying to troubleshoot it. And I figured, hey, why not film it? Somebody on YouTube might like to see how much work goes into one of these EMs. Now, we've already done a little bit of work on it. Basically, the problem with an electromechanical pinball machine, whenever you get one, is always that there's a switch somewhere that isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So if you've ever seen the inside of one, there are tons of switches. So basically, we have ran through this thing and cleaned all of these switches on each one of these relays. We didn't really adjust them that much because if you start adjusting all the switches, sometimes you run into more problems than what you had originally. Let me pop this up. Okay, so where we are now is that we've got the lights on whenever you turn it on, and if you hit the start button, nothing happens. Still says game over. Literally nothing is happening. So, and we've got credits. Credit wasn't fine. So what we're doing is we're going to troubleshoot it a little bit and figure out why the start button's not working. So we'll check out the schematics. Be right back. Okay, so on an EM pinball, there are schematics. Then they basically show how everything works, how everything's connected together. And didn't really know where to start. So the first thing I did was I pulled up the schematics and started looking for where the credit button is, just to see what that is supposed to do. So this is the beginning of the schematics. Now, it's kind of hard to read them if you don't know what you're doing, but I'll just show you an overview. Basically, here's the plug. This is where the power comes in. You want to start at the beginning. One side of the power goes over to this side. The other side of the power goes over to this side. This represents the transformer that creates the AC voltages for the machine. Then you've got a tap here, and I don't know what that's for. I guess that's so you can high tap it to make it stronger, but we'll talk about that later. So basically, between this and this, there is a voltage. So you can see that these two are the two voltages. All of these represent light bulbs. So this is basically all of the light bulbs. If you've got any problems with the lights, this is where you look. Between here and here, this tap is for the coils. So all of these are the coils, blah 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 blah. So if you've got a problem where it won't start, basically the first thing that I do, we've got the lights on, so we know that this over here is at least starting to work. I've checked the fuse. The fuse is good. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to find the credit button, because whenever you hit the credit button, nothing happens, right? So they call it a credit button, not a start button on these old EMs. So I found it just a second ago. Bam, right there, that says credit button. Zoom in a little more. So in the schematic, you can see how complicated this is. Here's the credit button. Now, this is the credit relay. Credit relay. So when you hit the credit button, the credit relay is supposed to come on. But the only way that's going to happen is if this line up here, which is one side of the, if I can hold the camera right, this line up here, which is one side of the power, this is the coil, if both sides get connected to power, you know, or basically one side, well, it's AC, so yeah, both sides connected to power. So you need to get voltage running to this side. Now you can see that that's real easy because it's just constantly connected to that side. Now sometimes when you run down, the line goes through something else. And so see the voltage here, this is the, if you don't understand this, just keep watching. You'll the more you look into it, the more you'll understand. But the credit relay is what we're trying to get to turn on, because that's what happens whenever you hit the credit button. I mean the credit button, right? Eventually you're trying to get this relay to turn on. So the credit relay has not turned on. It gets voltage from one side over here, which is this line which connects to this main tap off of the transformer through this delay relay. Now this line here with two lines and then across through it, that means it's a normally connected switch on the delay relay. So we need to look at that delay relay to make sure that both of the switches are touching as it sits right now, which it should be. I've already checked that because I went through and checked all of the relays. That may be the problem because I didn't check it with a multimeter, but it looks like that's fine. So one side gets its power from there. The other side of the credit relay runs down and it connects right here to all of these different switches. So the credit relay can make the credit relay turn on. That's a switch that would hold the credit relay on after it pulls itself in. And since these two bars, like on the credit relay, that means normally open. So as it sits right now, without the relay energized, that switch isn't made. So you can't possibly get power to the credit relay through a switch on the credit relay until the credit relay is pulled in, which makes this switch. And again, I know all of this is a little confusing, but so the way the credit relay can get energized is either through the credit relay or through one of these four switches here, which leads back to this credit button. So this is what we're looking at here. So if the game over relay is pulled in, see how it's not normally connected? If it's pulled in, that would be one route. If the ball count unit is at 0, that would be one route. If the player up unit is at 0, that would be one route. Or if the coin unit limit is at its normally connected state, which it is right now. So basically the coin unit limit switch, basically there's at least one credit on it. So that's why they call it the coin unit in the back. So since we've got 5 on it, this limit switch is already connected as it should be. So power is running to the credit relay, and we're connected through here good. And then, well, you know what? I may have that wrong because this is the credit unit. We'll have to check out the coin unit limit switch to make sure I'm right. The credit unit 0 switch is the one I was just talking about. So that one shouldn't be open because we've got 5 credits on it. So we should have that one connected. So the power should be run up to here. It should be all right through this coin unit limit switch. We'll have to look into that. All right. And then here's the credit button. So when I press that, it should connect power to this side through this switch, which isn't at 0, and through this switch, which should be closed. It should be connecting, but it's not. So we need to figure out why. So if you run down here a little bit, the way that the credit button gets its power is through this reset relay, which has a normally closed switch. So we need to look at that switch, and then it runs down here to this thing here. Whenever you've got this oval around it, that means that it's the motor on the pinball. So there's a motor in it that basically has all kinds of switches. So it says 1E. So that's cam 1 switch E, that switch. So I'll show you that here in a second. So we got to check to make sure that's normally connected where it should be. And then it runs down to here. And then the power runs from over here, blah, 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 blah. And it runs through the 3rd coin chute on the coin door. Should have a normally connected wire. And the 2nd coin chute on the coin door should have a normally connected wire. And if all of that is how it should be, when you press the button, it'll connect the power on the 2 sides and make it start. So the power runs from here. This is the tap off of the transformer, through this switch on the 2nd coin chute, through this switch on the 3rd coin chute, all the way over to here, runs up through the motor, through the normally closed switch at 1E, runs through the reset relay at the normally closed switch, runs to one side of the credit button. You press the credit button. Now the power runs through the credit button, through the credit unit 0 switch, if you're not at 0, right? If you go to 0, this switch opens up, so no matter how many times you press the button, the power doesn't get through. Through the credit unit 0 switch, because you've got 1 credit, up here, through the coin unit limit switch, right? And over here to this side of the credit relay where it energizes this side, and this side is presumably energized through the delay relay, which is closed. So I need to check that. I got like 10 things to check just to see why the damn start button isn't working. Heaven forbid one of the lights not be working, or one of the drop targets not be working. You know what I mean? It's really complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go check those out. I'm going to start systematically. And we'll just run through them a little bit and see how all of those look, see if a switch looks misadjusted. Basically what I'm going to find is a wire's loose, wire's disconnected, or a switch is disconnected, or broken, or misadjusted where it doesn't touch when it should, blah, 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 blah. So we'll check that out, and then we'll figure out what the problem is. Be back in just a second. All right, folks, well, we've already found the problem, or the beginning of the problem. If you look on the schematics, right at the beginning, like we were saying, the yellow wire, which is from the transformer, connects through the switch on its normally closed position into the red and white wire. And this has all been cut off. So no matter what you do, the power can't get to the start relay. If you look over here on this one, it looks like it's all still wired up. You see the red and white wire running down there? Whoops. I got to get better about keeping you guys on the camera. See the red and white wire running down there and the yellow wires? Oh, I was getting some action there doing something. So anyway, we will, I'm going to check this out. I'm going to take this apart and we'll see where these go, and we'll get them where they go, and then we'll try the start button again. Be back in just a second. All right, folks, so we took these little guards off. Boop. Which is part of it's kind of an anti-cheat thing. They cover that wire up really good so that you can't put something in through the door and hit it, or through a hole over here. So we took those off so we could see it a little bit. And we could see that this one was still as original. Everything was how it originally was. And this one over here, somebody either had been tampering with, or the red wire had just broken loose. The red wire at the end looked a little different than this white and blue and yellow one did at the end. They looked a little more cleanly cut. The other one, it was a little more frayed. So it looked like the red wire maybe had just broken loose. Maybe it got snagged on something and they couldn't figure it out. I bought this from some people who it was not running. They didn't know what was going on with it. So that red wire, after looking at the schematics, connects there, which makes it connect over to the white wire normally. And then if you hit the switch, it connects it to the red wire to the yellow and black wire, whatever. So anyway, it was pretty obvious that that wire just needed reattached. So what I'm going to do now is hit the start button and see if it gives us any life now, if it does anything different, and if it does, we'll move on to the next thing. All right. Okay, so it went through and kind of did its reset thing. The clicking you were hearing in the back was it resetting some of the score reels. It now says 1 up, ball 1. Our flippers are working. Basically, we're in a game now. So what I'll do is I'll put this back down, and we'll play it a little bit and see what all's messed up, and then we'll walk through the schematics and figure out how to fix each problem as it pops up. Be back in a second. All right, so put the playfield back down. It did start a game. It's at the beginning of a game. The ball rolled through one of the 500-point switches up there, which is why we're at 500, but it was at 0. We're at ball 1. I put the ball back over here in the out lane, and now I'm just going to check some of the stuff and see if everything seems to be working, see what's going on with it. You'll notice all of the drop targets have popped back up, and you'll notice that all of the flipper rubbers are broke and everything. So we're what am I hearing? So we're in a position where we need to go through and, of course, rework the playfield, redo the pop bumpers, all that stuff. But we're trying to just get it electronically working right now. What am I hearing outside? Anyway, so I'll hit the switches, and then we'll check the. So it's giving us 500 points every time that's hit. That's probably right. 30 yards when lit, but they're each 500. 2,000. 2,500. 3,000. 3,500. All right, so all of those are working as they should. Now, this says 30 yards when lit. I don't even know what that is. So we've got this goal in the middle. So I'm not sure if the 30 yards part is working. I heard 3 clicks, but I only see 10 yards, so maybe we were over here and the lights are burnt out or something. Okay, so 30 yards when lit. Let's see what she does. We'll keep an eye on that. Not sure if any of that's working right. Let's check the pop bumpers. There should be 100 points each. Yep, 100 points. Yep, 10 points. Okay, that one's not working at all. It ain't doing anything. I think there's a problem with this coil. We'll look at that underneath. But 1,000 points and 10 yards. So let's watch the yards while that happens. All right, we did get 10 yards. Yep, and it is giving us 1,000 points each time too. So that switch is working right. We've got these little switches on the side. That's giving me 10 points each time I hit it. This one should probably do the same. Yep, it is. This one over here as well. All right, it's getting me 10 points as it should. What else have we got? All right, so this should give me 1,000 points and 10 yards. You can watch that. I'll watch the thing. All right, that worked. This one should do the same. That worked. All right. And then 30 yards when lit. Yes, we got 10, 20, 30. All right. I don't understand how the game works yet, so I'm still learning it, but that did seem to do what it said. This says 505 balls, I guess. So we'll spin this and see if that's what it is. It's giving me 100. All right, so I don't know what that is, but we'll check into that. It looks like it's working as it should. That's about it. We've got our drop targets. I guess we can mess with those. It's gonna give me 500. It says 505, so maybe that will move 5. Yep. And you can hear it ding, 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 ding. It's clinging on 500 points, and it's last target down, scores lit value, so I'll get a goal on the last target down. I don't know how you get a goal. I guess the ball will just end up here. Alright, so here we go. So I don't know what the goal represents. I don't know what you get for a goal. But it looks like everything's working. Well, that's no fun because then I can't fix anything. Oh, that's right. The pop bumper wasn't working. The 10 pop bumper. All of that we need to mess with anyway. Check out these pop bumpers. If you look under it, look how ate up they are. Look at that. Now, usually if the pop bumpers have a little bit of wear, I leave it. But this is ridiculous. I mean, these things are horrible. Look at that. And so that little skirt there you can replace, but it's kind of a pain. If you don't know how these work, basically the ball rolls up and it hits that skirt, and when it rolls up on it, there's a metal collar up here on the top that pulls down on top of the ball and kicks it back out. So, like that. This one here isn't doing anything. So we'll have to check that out. But it looks like everything's going to work. It just all needs cleaned, and of course new rubbers and everything. All the lights need work doing. Looks like our only problem really is that 10-point pop bumper there. So it looks like we've got it working. It's just pretty sloppy. Maybe the goal gives you a free ball, an extra ball. Shoot again when lit is lit. But all right, so we've walked through it a little bit. I will I'll clean it up a little bit. Okay, folks, so we're back. What we did was we spent a little time, cleaned up the playfield a little bit, got it nice and clean, got it waxed, cleaned everything, put everything back on, and so now we can play it a little bit and test it and see if everything's working right. You know, we went through it and we thought everything was, but after we got this done, we found this one interesting little thing. We also went through and cleaned the all the score reels and adjusted them. They're all working right. So we're to the point now where we still have to do those ugly pop bumpers, and then we also have to check out this one little thing up here that I noticed, and you guys can see what you think. So I'm going to start the game. All right, so it reset all our score reels. It's a little louder than usual because the glass is off of it and the back door's off of it. And we'll leave the thing over there. Now check this out up here. This is the part that kind of threw us for a loop, and you guys, we can look at it on the schematics. You guys can see what you think. Okay, up here at the top it says 30 yards when lit. Now you can adjust that to where there is only one of those lit or two light, and they alternate. So you can adjust it where just one alternates in the middle too, or if you want it, they call it the conservative setting, so you don't win as many points. Or you can put it on the liberal setting where there's two lights. So we've got it on that. So anyway, and we've also tried it the other way. It does it no matter what you do. So it says 30 yards when lit, and then each one of these says 500 points. So if I go through this one that's not lit, I should get 500 points and 5 soccer balls, right? So see where the soccer ball is? So if I get 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, it should throw the soccer ball back around to here, and I should get 500 points. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it. We got our 500 points, and it threw the soccer ball. It gave us 5 soccer balls, right? Now, notice how it switched the lights. So if I hit it now, the light is lit. What do you believe it should score? We should get 30 yards when lit, right? And then it seems like you should get 500 points and 5 soccer balls, right? So watch when I hit it. Isn't that weird? So it gave me it advanced it 3, right? Didn't give 5 soccer balls. It's still where it was. And it gave me 3,000 points. Where in the world did that come from? So it advanced it 30 yards, and it gave me 3,000 points. Now here on the playfield it says, there's one target says 1,010 yards. So every time you hit that, it gives you 10 yards, and it gives you 1,000 points. But again, up here, if you go through, so this is a different one. Let's try this one. So this one's lit. If I hit that, I get 3,000 points and 30 yards. Where in the world is that coming from? So I thought, well, I don't know. It must be messed up. Maybe you're supposed to get 500, or maybe you don't get any with the light on. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. I looked on the instruction card, and it doesn't say anything about it. So then what I did was I went where we all go. I went to YouTube, and I watched a video, or tried to find a video of a kickoff to see if theirs did it. Nobody's got a video of a kickoff. If you're watching this video, you're watching the only kickoff video on YouTube as of right now. So I thought, well, maybe there's a quarterback. There was another game just like this called Quarterback. That was the football version, the American football version. And so there was one video of a quarterback. So I watched the video of the quarterback, but I couldn't tell what was happening because the camera wasn't on the scores and the playfield at the same time. So I found a video of, this is a kickoff again, of a kickoff that was like a virtual pinball machine where they had recreated it to where you could play it on a computer. And I watched that, and the way theirs worked was when you went through the 500, you got 500. When you went through the lit one, you just got 30 yards. You didn't get any score, all right? But again, it's a computer one, so it's been reprogrammed. They didn't have this machine likely whenever they made that. So I thought, well, we've got to figure out if this thing's broke, what it's doing, what's going on with it, or if it's supposed to do that. So I looked at the schematics. So we're going to go look at the schematics, and I'll show you how I tracked it down. Be back in just a second. I'm actually filming this out of sequence, folks. On the next segment, you'll hear me say something about the score motor. I should have shot a video of the score motor. I'm filming this afterwards, and I'm putting it in here, so now you see what the score motor is like. Now, basically, anytime you do anything in the game, the way that the machine works, that it makes its computations like a computer, is it starts this score motor spinning around. And when it starts this score motor spinning around, you see all these switches arranged on top of it. And if you look close, there are little cams, see it? Little bumps. And as these cams go by, the bumps push the switches up and make them work. So what I'm going to do is I'll hit something on the playfield, and you can see that spin around. It'll be a little loud and noisy because I have the chime unit right here. It'll be a little loud and noisy, but you can see what I'm talking about. Whenever that spins around, watch all the switches as they do their thing. See how all the switches are making and breaking and all that stuff? That's how it gives you like 300 points or 500 points. So for instance, this cam here has like 3 little nubs on it. So whenever this one goes around, it goes around one full revolution, and it goes 1, 2, 3, and makes that one go 3 times. This one might have 5 on it, so whenever it goes around, it makes this one go up 5 times. So that's how you get 500 points instead of just 100 points, and things like that. So that's kind of the brains of the outfit. So in the next part of the video, whenever I mention that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are again on the schematics. Now, again, we just pulled them up, and you've got a line, power line down here, and then you've got a power line up here, right? And so to connect those two, to make this score motor run, you have to get the lines connected. So one side of the score motor is connected to the power, right? And then to connect the other side, basically one of these relays has to come on. So to make the score motor turn, if the 5,000 point relay comes on, it'll do it. If the 500 point relay comes on, it'll do it. If the bonus score relay comes on, it'll do it. If the goal relay comes on, it'll do it. If the target down relay comes on, it'll do it. Or if the 30-yard relay comes on, it'll do it. So whenever you hit that switch that's lit, it makes the 30-yard relay come on. When the 30-yard relay comes on, that switch closes and connects power, which makes the score motor turn, right? So the score motor is all of those cams in there. If you've seen that, I guess I probably should have showed you that. I'll show you that here in a second. All of those cams, it makes that start spinning around, that score motor. And whenever it does it on that motor, there are little bumps, and those little bumps make the switches close and all that, bop, 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 and it goes around one time and stops, because one of these relays will fall out and stop working. All right, so basically, when you hit the lit thing, the score motor starts turning. And then I figured I'm getting 3,000 points. So let me go look and see what makes the 1,000 point relay do its thing. So I found this one, which is the 500 point relay, right? And so the way it gets its power, whenever it pulls in to give you 500 points, it's connected on one side already, and then on the other side, any of these different ways can connect the 500 point relay to make it work. So one way is through the score. This is through the score motor right here, the normally closed switch on the score motor, and the right center lane. So that's that one that, you know, where we were just messing with. By center, they mean there's the 2 in the center and then the 2 on the outside. So the right center lane, if you roll through there, it connects through this normally connected switch and gives you, and pulls in the 500 point relay, gives you 500 points. Well, that's how it should happen. Well, if it's alternated, so am I looking at that right? So that's that one. The top rollover button is that green button over on the side. It gives you 500 points when you roll over it. The left center lane goes through, I guess through this 12B score motor switch. This is the 12C score motor switch. Same thing, blah, 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 blah. Wait, am I reading this right? Yeah, this is like an alternating thing here. It's either one or the other, make or break. So it's normally connected, but it can connect over to here, 500. So you can see, depending on how this switch is, the lane will either make the 30-yard relay pull in, or it will make the 500 point relay pull in, but it won't do both. You can't get it to pull this one in and pull this one in because they're not connected. So point being, if you get 30 yards, you don't get 500 points. They're not connected together. When you go through the 2 lanes, the left center lane or the right center lane, it's either going to give you 500 points or it's going to be switched over to this where it gives you 30 yards. Now over here, this is, you can't see this because it's off the, you can't see it because it's off the screen, but if you've got it on conservative, like I said, it lights up another light, which basically gives you another light that will connect through over to the 500 point relay. So I went down to the 1,000 point relay like I was talking about. Why am I getting 1,000 points? I know this is all kind of in the weeds, but if you're into this kind of stuff, hopefully you can follow what I'm doing here. Here's the 1,000 point relay. So this is how you get 1,000 points. Remember, we're getting 3,000 points whenever we get go through the one that's lit. And I'm thinking maybe it shouldn't do that because on the virtual pinball one, it's not doing that. So to get 1,000 points, one of the ways you can get 1,000 points is you can roll through the left and right bottom lanes. That would connect this power I would connect this power to here, which would give you 1,000 points. Another way you can do it is, which is through here actually. Another way you can do it is through here. Look at this. If it's on 3-ball, you can set the game to be 3-ball or 5-ball. If it's on 3-ball, this wire right here is connected to this jack right here, which is connected to, what's that? The 30-yard relay. So whenever the 30-yard relay pulls in, it's connected through this score motor. Whenever the 30-yard relay pulls in, if it's on 3-ball, it gives you 1,000 points. So it's working right. Now it also gives you the, where's the other thing that I saw? It also gives you this bonus unit, step-up solenoid. So basically that's what gives you the 30 yards. That's good. They call it the bonus unit under the playfield. So on this, here's the 30-yard relay on it. So whenever the 30-yard relay pulls in and the score motor's turning, now remember when the 30-yard relay pulls in, it makes the score motor turn. So as the score motor's turning, every time it hits one of those impulse things, it connects the switches. So it connects the power as it rolls over that thing, blamp, and it sends, since the relay's pulled in, it sends the power through, bam, and kicks up the, gives you 10 yards. This spins around to where it does it 3 times. While it's doing that, see how that says 9B, a little hard to read? This one says 9A. So it's on the same cam. These two are right on top of each other. So while it's giving you the 30 yards, it's also giving you 3,000 points. Now, if you've got it on 5-ball, it connects to this right here. So this says at E39. So you scroll down. Whoop. Here's 39. So it's right here. And then E is right here, like left or right. Usually you have these printed out, so it's a little easier to see it. But anyway, that connects right there. So if it's on 5-ball, it connects to here. And whenever you pull in the relay, it makes the score motor turn. The score motor starts turning and it connects 3 times, right? The 30-yard relay is connected because it's pulled in. You're connected to 5-ball. The wire connects down to here, connects to here, and bam, makes the 100-point relay work. So whenever it's on 5-ball, you get 300 points. So anyway, my whole point is, it's working fine. That's how it's supposed to be. It took me about an hour and a half to track this all down, but you're supposed to get 3,000 points and 30 yards whenever you roll through the lit one. If you're on 5-ball, you're supposed to get 30 yards and 300 points, and 300 points instead of 3,000 points. And the virtual pinball is wrong. They need to fix that. So there we go. So what that means is everything is working on the game. Now we're going to film another video of it showing you gameplay, how fun it is, and how it looks all finished up with the back glass and everything. And we're also going to film another video showing you what it takes to swap those freaking pop bumpers. So subscribe to us here on YouTube. If you like this video, let us know below. If you don't like it, let us know below. And we will see you on the next video. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, just let us know below, and I'll try to talk you through it to the best of my knowledge, which is minimal, but maybe we can figure something out on your machine. So we'll see you on the next one.